Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 321. I'm Phil Graham. I've got a very important episode for you guys today because there are way too many advertisers making costly mistakes when it comes to running ads. So today, I'm going to share 6 of the most common mistakes I've seen in all my years of running ads. And not only that, but how to avoid these mistakes when you run ads on Facebook and Instagram. And actually, this would apply to running ads anywhere for that matter. So this could be a huge game changer for your business. Welcome to the show today, my friends. I am super glad you're here. I can't believe it is July 4th. Holy crap, the 4th of July here in the US. That's a holiday. Happy 4th, happy Independence Day, everyone. And if you're not in the US, happy July 4th anyway. I hope you guys are doing really well. I cannot believe how fast this year is going. I mean, before you know it, we're going to be talking about holiday sales and stuff like that. It's almost time to prepare for those now. So this is crazy. I hope you guys are crushing it with your ads, or if you're getting ready to run ads, I hope you're getting prepared to crush it. If you guys need that little bit of extra help, whether you're looking for somebody to run your ads for you, or you want some one-on-one coaching to finally learn it the right way, for either one of those things, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. We can connect and go from there. I look forward to hearing from you guys. And let's jump right into the content. Mistake number 1 is no strategy and a lack of clear objectives. So when you're running ads, are you just randomly running them? A lot of people do, even those that spend a lot of money on ads. And if you don't have an overall strategy, if you don't have objectives for certain ads and for your overall strategy of running ads, then that's a big mistake that you should fix. So when it comes to developing a strategy, some of the things I like to do are I like to have a top of the funnel strategy where we're targeting people that are cold traffic that don't know who you are, and then follow that up with bottom of the funnel retargeting strategy. And then also, who are we targeting within those? For example, at the top of the funnel, sometimes we'll implement a strategy of targeting certain broad audiences, but also segmented audiences based off of certain demographics and behaviors and interests and things like that. And then we also couple a messaging strategy that goes with whoever we're targeting. And then the other part of that is, what are your ad objectives? So when you run ads on Facebook and Instagram, you can choose different objectives. And while a lot of times you're probably going to choose sales, there's also other good objectives depending on what your strategy is. They're like different plays you would run in a football game. You don't always run the same play over and over. Other plays can work, and not running other objectives can be a mistake. So we have that all within our strategy that we run. And this changes from client to client depending on many different factors. But the key here is make sure that you're just not randomly running ads. Make sure that you have a strategy in place. Your objectives are clear. You've got certain ads for awareness, other ads for closing a sale, and you're using different objectives, and you're targeting different types of audiences and matching your ad copy to them. And that will really help you avoid some of those mistakes that can cost advertisers money when it comes to strategy. Let's jump into costly mistake number 2, and that is bad messaging, or messaging that is not effective, which I guess would still be bad, right? So a lot of advertisers have a lot of problems with this, and it can really affect their ROI. You don't want to be making these mistakes. So what are some examples of bad messaging that are very common? There's like hundreds, but I'm just going to talk about some of the more common ones. Number 1 would be running ads without any kind of an empathy statement or connection with your audience, with your ideal potential clients and customers. If you don't form a connection, if you don't have empathy for their situation and you're just spamming them to death, that's a surefire way to have bad messaging, and that's probably going to affect you very negatively. Number 2, no differentiation. And not only no differentiation, that's a big one. Like if you're just like everybody else, that's a huge issue. But even if you are talking a little bit about your differentiation, which you should be, most advertisers forget the most important part, and that is how your difference benefits them, your customers, your clients, your potential ideal customers. How you differ, how does that benefit them? Don't just talk about how you're different, talk about the benefit to your customers, and that will be huge for you. Another huge mistake that leads to bad messaging is no hooks, or hooks that aren't very good. Because if you can't hook somebody with your ads, you're screwed. And what do I mean by hook them? I mean, get them to actually look at your ad. So a hook is huge. You should have a hook. If you're doing a video, that should be like the first thing you say in the video. In your ad, it could be the headline. It could be the first thing that's in your ad copy. All of those things can be hooks. Even the image of an ad can be a hook. And if you don't hook somebody, if you don't get their attention, it doesn't matter how great your ad is or how great your business is or your product or service. If they don't see it, then none of that matters and you lose. So you've got to make sure that you don't make that mistake of either not having a hook or having a weak hook. You want to make sure that you do things that get the attention of your ideal audience, because that makes such a big difference. Another huge mistake I see with bad messaging are people running ads that just kind of look like everything else that's out there, whether it's the words they're saying or the style of videos they're doing or the images that they have. It just looks like everybody else. And that's a big problem because people see that stuff all the time and you're not going to stand out. That kind of goes back to the hook example. If you don't stand out, they're not going to see your ad, and then nothing matters when it comes to that ideal customer. So don't just run ads that look like everyone else because you assume since everybody's doing it, it's working. I can tell you this, if everybody's doing it, you should be doing the opposite in a lot of situations because so many advertisers lose money. There's a good chance you're copying something that doesn't work anyway. You don't want to make that mistake. Another surefire sign of bad and ineffective messaging is not clearly communicating what your value proposition is in your ad. You really got to focus on how can you help your customers? What is your value proposition? And that doesn't mean just directly selling them right away. You've got to clearly and quickly communicate that because that can make such a big difference. So you want to make sure that you don't have bad messaging because bad messaging can absolutely have a negative effect on your ad performance and cause a lot of problems for you. The costly mistake number 3 that I want you guys to avoid is neglecting data and analytics. Now, this is good. Don't turn this off. I know a lot of you guys get bored when we talk about data, but I'll tell you this, it's one of the most important things to your success. So if you're one of the types of people that doesn't like data, I understand that. There's a lot of creative people out there that think it's super boring, to be looking at data and poring over that stuff. The problem is, if you're running your own ads, that's disaster if you think that. You might as well just flush money down the toilet. So if you're running your own ads or you want to learn how to get good at it, you need to learn how to work with data and use it and make decisions with data. If you hate it so much, then you should have somebody else run your ads for you if you're not going to do it. So just keep that in mind. It's not the most fun thing in the world for some people to do. I actually love it. I love data because that's how we make smart decisions, and it gives us a huge edge and advantage over most other advertisers. So I think it's amazing. It's one of my most favorite things. It's part of our secret sauce. So when it comes to neglecting analytics and data, that's a huge mistake that people make. And yes, even after all the iOS changes a couple years ago, it's still possible to get good data. Even if every single piece of data is not going to be exact, it's going to be in the ballpark and a lot of cases. So you want to do it and you want to do it right. I like to take data from multiple sources. For example, Ads Manager is one source, Google Analytics is another, and it could be your WordPress stats or Shopify stats if you're a Shopify e-com store, or wherever your website is hosted, you can have stats from there. You can also get stats and data from heat map software and places like that. And we'll look at all that. Depending on the situation, we can aggregate it all into one place and study that data and then make decisions based off of the data. It's such a huge advantage. It's such a huge edge. It's really part of that secret sauce. Just make sure that you're not making the mistake of running ads without a strategy and without focusing on data to make smart decisions. Mistake number 4, this is a big one, and that is ignoring, or not even knowing it's important, but ignoring mobile optimization for your website, your landing pages and sales pages and all that stuff. It blows my mind that some people don't really look at this. Like they work on their website or their sales page on a desktop computer or laptop or something, but they forget that what you see there may not be what it looks like on the phone or on an iPad. And when you look at your stats, you're going to notice that a huge percentage of people that visit your website, that click your ads, are going to be coming from the phone. In some cases, it's 70, 80, 90%. It's like a really high number. And so if most of the people that are coming to your website and your sales pages, etc., are coming from the phone, you should be focusing on mobile optimization and making sure that your pages, especially the pages that come, from the ads, where the ads are sending them to those pages, you need to make sure those are 100% good to go on mobile, that they load fast, that they look right, they look great, and that everything works. Because it is so common to click an ad and then have it go to a page, and on the phone, something's wrong. It just doesn't look right. Things are out of place. A button doesn't work. That's just going to kill your ROI. Most people are going to be using mobile. So make sure that you design for mobile first, and you double check all your landing pages, website, and sales pages for mobile optimization, because it's so important. Mistake number 5 is a lot of advertisers overcomplicate their ads. This is both for the ad copy as well as the images in your ads or the videos in your ads. Overcomplicating, meaning a lot of times it's cluttered. Sometimes I'll see images that are way too busy and maybe there's tons of text on them and it just looks horrible. Or the ads or even landing pages they go to are completely cluttered, or they're too wordy. You might have like a lot of words in your ads, and there's nothing wrong with that because long copy can work well, but you've got to do it right. You've got to have some white space in between them. It's got to be formatted nicely. Maybe put some emojis in there to break it up. You don't want to just have walls of text. You don't want it to be too busy. You don't want it to be confusing. No clutter. You want to be very focused and simplified with what you do in your ads, because if you overcomplicate things and you clutter things, whether it's your ad or your landing pages or sales pages, that's probably going to have a negative effect on the results you get. And then last but not least, number 6, costly mistake to avoid is having a lack of an effective follow-up strategy. So following up is such a big deal. It's where most of your leads and sales will typically be made, is through the follow-up. It's normal for somebody to engage with a business or an ad and need to see you sometimes 5, 6, 7 times or more sometimes before they make a decision. Now, there are times when they can see an ad once and then just opt into something or download something or buy something right away, but it's very normal for it to take some time. Sometimes they need to see you more. Sometimes you need to build some trust and credibility or prove you know what you're talking about, or many other things, or it's just a timing issue. All of these things are normal when it comes to ads. So when it comes to that mistake of following up, I've noticed 2 specific things that are most common. Number one, you've got some people that don't follow up at all, or they do it, but just real briefly. And then if they don't see an immediate return, they stop. Huge mistake. And then number two, I see people that try and follow up. So they're at least kind of on the right track, but they're doing it in a way that's not very good. Maybe they're not highly skilled at it, but they're following up. They're just doing it wrong. So they don't have good hooks in their follow-ups. They're not doing segmented follow-ups. There's a lot of different things. So you don't want to be making those mistakes because, again, that's where a lot of your money is going to be made. So when it comes to following up, that can be done through, of course, retargeting, getting back in front of your audience that has already engaged with you in some way, whether they went to your website, whether they're a lead, or they watched a video of yours on Facebook or engaged with an ad or any of those things. I like to have multiple levels of follow-up, and this is all part of our strategy that's important. So you can follow up with your entire warm audience. So whether somebody's a lead or an existing customer, or they just liked one of your Facebook ads, you can follow up with any of them through proper targeting using retargeting. But also you can do segmented and timed follow-up. You can follow up with people that have visited certain pages within the last few days or specific pages for a certain angle or product or service that you have, and then make your follow-up specific to that very thing that they were most focused on recently. You can also do, of course, abandoned cart follow-ups or abandoned lead follow-ups. Like there's so many different ways to do it. But as you do it, you want to make sure you still have a hook in your ads, and you want to make sure you follow all the good rules of advertising as you do it. It's really important. You should also be following up via email when you have people's email addresses, of course. And then lastly, the thing that I think is really important is not just following up and not just doing it right, but the third thing is doing it consistently. So you should always have follow-ups going. Don't just start and stop and do it once in a while. Do it consistent, because that can make such a big difference. These mistakes can be really costly if you're making them. So make sure that you guys avoid them and run ads in a way that will help you instead of hurt you. My friends, episode 321 is in the books. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to get in touch, my website is philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital. Got another great episode coming your way next week. I will talk to you then. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.